Ladies and gentlemen, this is Laura Parrish, better known as the hashtag TNS Team No Sleep Mastermind, and it is Sunday, May 8, 2016. It's Mother's Day, and we're super excited to be coming to you this evening, this Mother's Day, and we would love to wish every mom out there a fantastic Mother's Day. We hope that you had an enjoyable and relaxing day. You certainly deserve it. Tonight, I'm joined with a few panelists. Jenny's not on yet. She's trying to get on, but I have Miss Dee Powell coming to us, and also Miss Jolene. Can't ever pronounce her last name. She's taught me a million times, but I can't ever get it, so I'm just going to stick with Jolene. Horton, I think, is how you say it. But we're excited to do it. No, I still said it wrong? Okay. See, I can't do it, right? So we're coming to you live tonight about an exciting topic, okay? A super exciting topic that so many people have really a lot of curiosity about, and we're going to dispel and break it all down for you tonight. Before I get started, I'm going to look over here at this laptop I've got next to me to make sure that we're live. Anyone who's out there watching us live, if you could pop a comment in or say hello. I'm going to make sure that we're live here. Let's see. I see that we are live. Yay. And let me scroll down the comments here. All right, cool. So I see we're all live. That's great. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything that you want to add in tonight, make sure you just pop them in the chat, and we'll be looking back and forth to make sure that we can answer any of those. I know a lot of people might not be able to make it to this live call tonight because it is Mother's Day, and a lot of people are traveling, spending time with their family. But we're committed, and we're still here because tonight's topic is so important. Because a lot of people just don't know. When you don't know what you don't know, it's called ignorance, right? It's not stupidity. There's a huge difference between ignorance and stupidity, and you just don't know what you don't know. And so tonight's topic is why it's cheaper to work for yourself from the comfort of your home than it is to have a job. And I know if you have a job, or if you have that employee mindset, you're probably like, exactly. Like, I have so many times heard that, you know, why should I have to pay to work? Why all these work from home things, you know, they want me to pay out money. That's why I want to work from home, because I don't make enough money at my job, you know, so I want to do something from home so I can make money. I don't have money to fork out. I want to make money, and I don't have to pay to go to my job, so why should I have to pay to work from home? And that's what we're here to bust that myth, right? Because you do very, very, very much pay to go to your job. But before we get started, I have to put a disclosure out there, right? I have to put a little side note. I put it on the event, if you're here from the event invite that you saw on Facebook, and I also sent it out in my email newsletter. And here's the thing. If you love what you do, like if you work a job and you have a career and you love it, right? We're not here to tell you shouldn't do that. We're not here to bash that and say you should be a stay-at-home mom or anything like that. We feel like you should do whatever you're passionate about, and there are people who are passionate about their careers, right? Thank goodness, right? Thank goodness people are passionate about being lawyers, because we need lawyers to help us in times of need, right? Thank goodness people are passionate about being doctors, because who else would take care of us when we got sick, right? Thank goodness that people are passionate about running restaurants and doing all the other things that they do, because that you're here to serve us, right? So we say kudos to you, no matter what it is that you do, and only are implying that you should be passionate about what it is that you do. And so this topic is perfect for tonight, for Mother's Day, because so many moms out there, and this isn't meant to be sexist, because this is true for dads too. We're just framing it towards moms because it's Mother's Day. But so many people out there who have kids really, really, really want and wish and desire to be able to work from the comfort of their home so that they don't have to leave their kids, right? They could have been, you know, in the corporate world before they had kids, and then decided once they had kids, hey, I don't want a stranger to raise my kids, so, you know, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. But then the finances, it's like, what do? You literally need a couple people working, or if you're a single mom, you don't have a choice, really, you know, to work, to be able to put, you know, food in the mouth and clothes on the back and a roof over our head. And so a lot of parents have that internal struggle of, I want to stay at home so bad, but how? How can I do that when, you know, all these work from home things are asking for money, which I don't have in the first place? And And just is it real? Is it possible? How does it work? How can I afford it? And they really don't know. So before I get into the four main things that back the statement of, or the title of this call, which is why it's cheaper to work from home than go to your job, I want to talk to Dee and Jolene a little bit and let them share a piece of their story. Like I'm going to share a small piece of mine. You know, I was a restaurant manager. My husband was a restaurant manager, and we had kids, and I decided, you know, and he decided that we didn't want a stranger to raise our kids, so I would be a stay-at-home mom. And it was okay because he made a decent amount of money, but literally we just scraped by. We weren't able to do anything extra, or, you know, have date nights or do anything that we wanted to do for the kids. You know, we were literally living paycheck to paycheck, barely making the bills. And it was miserable, right? And not only was it miserable finance-wise, I personally had a lot of misery going on inside of me because I am the type of individual who's always been, you know, 200% whatever I do, balls to the walls, right? Very successful no matter what it is that I do for a living, and that was a piece that I was missing for me too, because though being a parent is like the most awesome thing in the world, and you're responsible for taking care of these kids, your wants and your needs seem to go on the back burner, right? Because they have to come first. And I wanted that piece of me back too. I wanted to be able to still do what I wanted to do and be passionate about, you know, being successful and providing financially and things like that. So I missed that too. And I knew that there had to be a better way. And just over 4 years ago, it was actually May 4th, over 4 years ago, 2012, when I came across an opportunity to work from home and decided I'm going to take it and run with it and see what happens. And that's all she wrote, right? Ever since, I've been able to do the things that I want to do, live the way that I want to live, financially provide for my family, and not have to go to a job and work in that corporate world anymore. And that, for me, it's about time freedom. It's about being able to live the way I want and spend the time with the people that I want to spend with, which is my kids, right? So the money, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't great, because it is. But, you know, it's a business. So there will be times that it's great, and there will be times that it's not so great, right? It's your own business, and you have to run it. But really the biggest payoff for me is that I get to spend time with my kids. And someone said something, my web developer Jason told me the other day, and I can't remember who it was that said it, but I love it. And that's that entrepreneurs will work 80 hours a week for our own business, to run our own business, so we don't have to work 40 hours a week at a job, right? Because we love what we do. And that really was powerful to me, right? Because we love what we do, we get to help people change their lives the way that we've changed our lives, and it just doesn't get any better than that. So that's a little piece of my story, where I was at and where I was coming from about, you know, this whole, there's got to be something more. There's got to be a better way to live and be able to pay bills and actually be happy about what I'm doing and be able to spend time with my kids. So I'll go ahead and bring Dee out and let her talk a little bit about her story. She was a stay-at-home mom as well, and she can share, you know, what she did to try to help get bills paid, you know, for her family when her children were young. Her children are grown now. And it was a little bit different than what I've been able to do, because there wasn't internet, you know, and she didn't have a computer back then. So Dee, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and take the floor and share a little bit about your story and how it didn't work out very well for you, I would appreciate it.
Hi, thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. I have 5 children, and when my kids were small, I decided that I didn't want to work, and I stopped working a full-time job to stay home with my kids after my second child was born. And for me, what I did was I didn't have the internet available to me at that time. When my kids were small, you know, it was very, and I guess most people just didn't have a computer in their house. It wasn't the norm, you know, like it is today, which is awesome today, because the opportunity is there for you to do something. But when my kids were small, you know, I used to take in kids and babysit. And there were times where I would have my kids plus, you know, like 4, sometimes 5 other kids. And so they would bring the kids to me early in the morning, like 7 o'clock sometimes. And then it would be like 6 o'clock at night, and they would be picking them up, you know. and I was getting like $50 a kid, you know. That was like $10 a day, which really wasn't much money, but you know, it helped a little bit, but um, it was hard. It was really hard because people are inconsiderate and they don't pick their kids up, or they, you know, they have like strict rules that you got to follow, or you know, there's like all this stuff, and then what are you gonna do during the day? You've got a house full of babies and little kids, and you can't go anywhere. You know, you're stuck. You're stuck in your house. You know, you might be lucky to go down the street to the park or something, but then you got to watch all these kids, you know, and it's like, ah. So, I mean, it was really hard. It was really hard. And then after a while, I stopped watching kids, and I started cleaning other people's houses. And on the days my husband was home or home early, I would go to other people's houses and clean their houses. And, you know, sometimes I'd have to bring my kids with me when I went to clean these houses. So I'd be like sitting them in a room and say, sit there, don't move, you know. And it was just really, it was hard. And I really wasn't making a lot of money doing that either. But, you know, if I would have had the internet to work from home back then, it would have made life so much easier, and it would have made it just so much better for me, because, you know, I would have been able to do things when the kids were napping, or do things when the kids were in bed at night, or, you know, and I wouldn't, you know, have had to miss any time with my kids at all. So, and another time I got a part-time job working in a retail store, and the hardest part for me was leaving my kids, you know, working from 5 to 10, and you know, missing bedtime, missing bath time, missing dinner time, you know. And so for me, back when my kids were small, you know, things were so much different. And it was just really hard trying to find a way to make extra money from home. And today is we're so fortunate. That's what I have to say. We're so fortunate. And we don't have to really leave our kids. I have my grandbabies living with me now, and, you know, I get to spend time with them even, you know, when I'm here. You know, they're 24/7, so it's really so much better to be able to use the internet to work from home. That's
awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Dee. Yeah, I was pretty amazed when you were telling me a little bit about your story earlier, and I didn't, you know, because I never had that experience, so I never thought about it that way. But when you were talking about, you know, having to clean houses and take the kids with you, and then, you know, babysitting, I didn't realize a lot of moms probably do that. You know, a lot of moms probably, you know, say, oh, well, I'm a mom, you know, and so I'll just help take care of other kids, you know, through babysitting and make money that way. And so they try it and then realize and go through the things that, you know, you've experienced as well. But like I said, I never thought of that because I didn't have that, so it was good to be able to share that experience. Now, Jolene has her story to share as well, and I love because she's like, mwah. And yeah, I think she did some of the same things too. You know, trying to open a daycare. Actually, I think she did, and so if she could come out and share a piece of her story, I'd appreciate it. Come on out, Jolene.
Hey, Laura. Okay, happy Mother's Day, everybody. Woo! We're here. So, yeah, like Dee, I ran a daycare from home, and they would come early in the morning, drop the kids off. You know, you're washing toys, you're washing kids, you're washing floors, you're putting toys away. You know, you got 5 of them running around the house, so you really, like you said, you can't go anywhere. You know, you have to, like, string them all together to walk them around the block, you know. It's like weird. So you really, I mean, it's good that you're home, because mine were home too then. You know, I could have mine with me, but then it's just not the same freedom of where you could take just your children and take them someplace. You have to be very specific and careful, because you can't just take kids anywhere, especially not yours. You know, you got to sign a permission. You got to let them know how long it's going to be, you know. And if you take them in a vehicle, that's a whole nother expense with your insurance. So that gets crazy too to do it. So, and then they always, I had lots of families that would do a week and then they wouldn't show up, but they wouldn't pay me either. You know, so there you are, out like $200 for the next 2 weeks because they ditched you and then you got to go find another person, and then you got to get them in, and by the time you're done paying for the meals and cleaning everything, being an in-home daycare is good, and most parents like it because it is a home atmosphere, but it's a lot of work, it's a lot of expense. So when you ask for just a little bit because it's not a facility, sometimes you don't even break even, it's that's tough. So I went to not doing that anymore. I actually did do 2 jobs for a very, very, very long time. And the girlfriend's house that I'm at right now, because we came back to Sheboygan to visit, the girlfriend that I'm at right now she actually went to my kids' concerts for me because I had to work at night. And she went and she sat in the front row, and I put my phone on mute, and I put an earplug in my ear, and I stuck it down my shirt. And she took her phone and she held it up so I could hear my kids play at their concert because I had to stay at work. So I was like, oh yeah, this really sucks. This really, really sucks in another way. But I did this for a really, really, really long time until I found this. And I've only been in this for about about 2 years, and it's changed everything. I moved to La Crosse now. I'm with my oldest daughter and my granddaughter. I get to see her all the time, take her places. My oldest daughter had to ask permission to get off of work, and that was by the skin of her teeth because people quit at her job, so she may not have been able to go on the vacation. Whereas I'm like, hey, you, yeah? Want to go on vacation? Okay, yeah, that works. Okay, that's cool, So we had a discussion and we decided we're going to go, so I only had to ask me if I wanted to do it. So, yeah, if anybody would ever say, what's the plus of working at home? The list starts at my finger and doesn't even end at my elbow. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. There's just a ton of stuff. So.
Yeah, wow. Thank you. Thanks so much, Jolene, for sharing that. That was really powerful. And I see you fighting back tears, and it brought tears in my eyes for sure, too, because there's nothing harder than, feeling like you have to miss something that you want to participate in for your kids, but, it's like, do I screw the job, and risk getting fired, or, do I need to make sure that I can put food in my kids' mouth, you know what I mean? So that's a tough situation, and I feel for you. So anyway, let me clear up here and say that's why we're here tonight, right? That's why we're here tonight, because if you're watching this right now and you're a mom or you're a dad, and you've ever felt that way, like I know that you just listened to what Jolene shared with you, and like it made you like, heart up and tear up too, because you know that feeling and it just sucks, right? But we're here to tell you that you don't have to choose. You don't have to choose that anymore, right? So with that being said, I want to get right in to the first of the 4 things that's going to prove what we're talking about tonight, which is why it's cheaper to work for yourself from home than it is to go to a job, right? Now, here's another little disclaimer. It really depends on what it is you do, because a lot of people will, put up a lot of things and say, well, I don't have to do this or I don't have to do that, and that's okay. But for the majority of people, okay, I would say for the majority of people, 90% of people, the 4 things that we're going to talk about tonight are true, all right, at least 95%, all right? So if you're one of the people that is not in the majority, then you've got it made, I'll say that, all right? So first off is, how much money do you put in your car to go to your job every single week? So let me ask, Jolene, let me ask you, like, how much gas money did you spend on a weekly basis to go to 2 different jobs? Just, I don't know, a number.
I was probably putting in at least $75 every 2 weeks.
Okay, 75.
Yeah, the prices back then, were a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I also, so you got to pick up the kids. And when I was doing 2 jobs, my kids weren't home. They were with somebody else. So, I mean, I was lucky I had a lady that lived next door that would help on the times, you know, when I had to work like really late or nighter or something like that. But, you know, where do you put them? So you got to go pick them up. You got to drop them off in between two people, you know, and I was divorced. So, you know, you're working, you know, then you got to drive around and do that because there's nobody just home after school. You know, kids come home from school and there's dad or there's mom because mom or dad are now leaving or have a second job or two or whatever. Yeah, it gets you're driving around everywhere. You're on, you know, and just the wear and tear on there for the brakes, and then you change this, and the oil changes have to be more often, you know, just more wear and tear. Just like just recently, my brakes went out. They broke, and then when they broke, they chipped the caliper, and then when they chipped the caliper, they went into the rotor, and I was like,
Right.
yeah, you know, yeah. So you get a lot of wear and tear on a vehicle doing two jobs.
Yep. And what about you, Dee? How much money were you spending a week when you were driving around cleaning houses and working your part-time job?
Sure. I was probably spending about the same, $60 to $70 a month. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. So the first obviously thing that we're going to talk about is gas. So they were spending, you know, 60 to 75 every 2 weeks, and you know, and they were talking about their children are older now and grown. So this was back when gas prices were a lot different, and we all know what gas prices are now. So I would dare I say, now I have a Suburban. It also depends on what car you have, what vehicle you're driving, but I would say that most people probably spend between $40 and $50 a week in gas. You guys think that would be fair? So if you, let's say 40, let's just say 40 on the low side, right? So 40 bucks a week with the gas prices the way they are. So I went over and grabbed some little Post-its. So if you spend $40 a week, okay, times how many weeks in a month? Times 4 weeks in a month, right? How much money are you spending in gas a month to go to your job? So we're at $160, all right? So for those of you watching right now, and you've always had the mindset of, why do I have to pay to work from home because I don't have to pay to go to my job? You spend about $160 a month on gas. Now, you do your own math, right? I'm just taking about averages, okay? So what I implore you to do is while you're listening to this call or watch the replay, because this replay will be up until next Sunday at 9 o'clock, get a piece of paper out, right? And really look at what you're spending in gas. You know, even if you only spend $30 a week times 4 weeks, you know, 30 times 4 is $120, right? So $120 a month in gas, right? So that's the first thing. That's the first myth buster of, you know, not having to pay to go to work, because you have to put gas in your car to get back and forth to that job that you go to, and to pick up your kids and wherever they're at, you know, wherever they may be while you're at your job. So I think
and most people I know commute almost 45 minutes to an hour. We're just talking $40 a week driving in town. Mm-hmm. Now, people that drive 30, 40 an hour, that's even doubled now. Now you've doubled it, and that's just gas.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not even like the time, taking into account the time that you, like if you work an 8-hour job, but it takes you 45 minutes to get there and 45 minutes to get home, then you're at an hour and a half, so your 8 just turned into 9.5, 10 hours. If there's any traffic, then that's a whole nother story, right? Especially if you live like in, you know, the capital of our state's Richmond, or if you live in Washington, D.C., or New York City, or heaven forbid if you live in California. Like, I used to live in Northridge, like the home of earthquakes, and though I love California and the heat, it's not like where I live now. Like, where I live now, if I want to go to a movie with the kids, I'm like, hey, let's go to a movie. It starts in 15 minutes. We hop in the car and go. You live in California, you're like, hey, let's go to a movie. You got to plan that like 2 and 3 hours out, because that's how long it's going to take to get there. You know what I mean? Because of the traffic. But yeah, so gas, $160 average in gas, okay, a month is what you spend to go to your job. So the next thing, myth busted number 2, right, is let's talk about your clothing, right? I don't know where you work. You know, some people work in restaurants, some people, if you work in a restaurant, you have to wear slip-resistant shoes. And I know for a fact, because I used to work in a restaurant. My husband still works in a restaurant. His shoes cost between $60 to $70 every time I order them, and then you got to pay shipping. Unless if you go to Walmart and you get inexpensive ones, we always get shoes for cruise, but you can get inexpensive ones at Walmart for like $40. But those don't last as long, so you have to replace them more often. And then most restaurants you work at require you to wear like certain types of shirts or aprons, things like that, and black pants. So you have to buy those. If you work in the corporate world, you're either required to wear what, like if you're a guy, shirts, long sleeve shirts with neckties, which I know are expensive as well. Or if you're a lady, skirt, blouse, outfit, dress that you have to spend money on. So I would say, I don't know if you ladies want to put your 2 cents in about this, but I would say at least $400 a year. I would think, let's see, $400 a year. I got a little calculator, my trusty calculator. Divided by 12 months is about 33. I would say $35 a month if you average it out to wardrobe, right? More than that? All right, Jolene, unmute yourself and talk to me.
Yeah, my daughter right now is working a head household in a hotel, and she goes through her uniform like crazy, constantly, because she's rubbing up against stuff. She gets chemicals on it, making beds, things like that. Her outfit wears out constantly. So she's getting an outfit from the hotel, but she's got to replace her shoes. You're in your shoes constantly. They're beat up. She buys them, keeps buying them, keeps buying them. Your socks wear out because you're in your shoes. Then you have to go and wash it. I mean, that's a whole nother expense because you have to have that stuff. Every single day she's got to wear that, so she has to have, I would think at least a set of 2. So you always got to keep washing that because you got to keep wearing it. It's not something you could just pile in the corner, oh, I wore that shirt, well, there's another one. But you still, things that have to be dry cleaned, that's an expense too. So I would definitely say that's way, way on the low side. Like way, $35 a month for, no. No, I would definitely at least hit 100 probably a month. And just buying your shoes alone is $40 if they last a month.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely, you're right. I mean, and I have my husband's work shirts dry cleaned, and that's $15 a week. So $15 a week times 4 weeks. I forgot about that expense. That's $60 a month we spend in dry cleaning, just to dry clean his work shirts. But like I said, I'm trying to go on the low side of everything here because I don't want people to I don't want you guys out there to see this call and be like, oh, they're just jacking everything up to make it sound like jobs are so horrible, right? Like, we're trying to keep it real here. Like, we're trying to give you the benefit of the doubt and as much leeway as possible, Like, if you only spend $120 a month on gas, right? Or, $35 is low. Like I said, I know we spend $60 a month on dry cleaning for my husband's shirts, and, if you get the cheaper, slippers and shoes, it's $40. When it's time to get new pants, there's like $20 each. You can get the cheaper ones at Walmart for like $20 each. But if you get nice dress pants, you're spending $50, $60 a pair. And then, you can get like those shirt tie sets that come together in the box, right? But those are still $20, $25. So your wardrobe is expensive. Hey, Zoe, what's going on? Maddie D, what's up? Over here in the chat, say hi, guys. If you have questions or comments, make sure you put them in there. So yeah, so we already established that like $120 to $160 a month you're spending in gas to drive around, right? To get to and from your job, pick your kids up, and do all that stuff. And now we're talking about wardrobe. So I had said about $35 a month, but like I said, and I'm glad Jolene brought it up, I totally forgot about dry cleaning, because some people have to do that, and also detergent, because unless you can afford to buy a lot of wardrobes, or uniforms for your wardrobe for work, then you're constantly washing what you can afford to get, right? So let's bump it up. I won't go 100 because, like I said, I want to give people the benefit. But if you say 65 sound a lot better. Jolene's like, no.
No, because if you live in an apartment and you don't have a washer and dryer, you're going down the street a couple blocks to go to the laundromat, and them puppies are not cheap. They are so not cheap.
I know. My washer and dryer went out a few months ago. It was about 7 or 8 months ago, and we had to go wash clothes at the laundromat. It was like $60, and we have a family of 4. It was like $60.
Right.
I was like, what on earth? So, yeah, it's super expensive. So, all right, so we'll do $75 a month. $75 a month, I think that's fair, times 12 months. So you're looking at $900 a year is what you spend on wardrobe for work. So if you break that down, that's $75 a month on wardrobe. So $75 a month on wardrobe. This includes the shoes, the uniform, you know, whether you have a shirt and tie or, you know, whatever clothes you have to buy, detergent, dry cleaning, all that stuff. Most people, we're going to average about $75 a month on the expense of their wardrobe to go to that job, all right? And we already established that you're looking at about $160 a month for gas in your car to go to that job. So $160 a month plus $75 a month, we're up to $235 a month. Okay, so we've gone through 2 things, and remember the title of this call is about why it's cheaper to work for yourself from home than it is to go to your job, because so many people, I know I'm being repetitive, but I'm doing that on purpose, right? Because I really, really want you guys to have that light bulb come on and say, whoa, I never thought about it that way, because you know what? You are me. Like 4 years ago, I was you. I was the same way. I'm like, whoa. I never thought about it that way. The only thing I ever thought was there's got to be a better way. I want to be at home with my kids. How do I do that? How is it possible? Is this work from home thing really real? You know? But I did too. I thought, you know, why should I have to pay to work from home? Like, why should I have to spend money to pay for something every month to work from home? I didn't realize all these things that I'm telling you guys right now. Like, this is was a huge light bulb moment for me, and we really want you to have that same huge light bulb moment so you can understand you spend a lot of money to go to your job, right? A lot of money. So we went through gas, and we went through wardrobe, which you're doing every single month. So let's move on to the third thing that you spend to go to your job, and that's, do you eat? Like, do you eat? You know, when you go to work. And, you know, a lot of people will say, well, you know, I pack my lunch. Okay, well, I know that, you know, when I go to the grocery store and I buy for my family, you know, meals and plain meals and stuff like that, you know, if I say, well, I'm going to make meatloaf on Friday and I'm going to do, you know, chicken Kiev on Saturday or whatever, you know, you buy what you need to make the meals for your family. But then if you have kids, what do you have to buy for them for lunch? Like, if your kids pack to go their lunch at school, instead of buying, you pack. Do you send meatloaf to school with your kids? I doubt it. You send chicken Kiev? I doubt it. What do you buy? You buy things like peanut butter and jelly and crackers and fruit cups and mandarin orange cups and applesauce cups and granola bars and all the stuff you have to buy special, you know what I mean, just to send to lunch for your kids at school, right? So if you have a job that you're going to, and you say, well, I pack, well, I guarantee you that you're still buying things special for you to be able to pack to take to lunch for your job, right? It's not like, now, yeah, it's different as an adult. Yeah, you could take some leftover meatloaf, of course, and chicken Kiev and all that, but for the most part, people want something that they can eat on their job quick and easy at their desk, right? Like sandwiches, granola bars, same type of situation. So you're still buying special food specifically for your lunches. And then some people are running late, so they don't have time to make lunch. And then what do you do for lunch? Where do you go? Closest fast food joint. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, whatever your choice is, Chick-fil-A, wherever you live, whatever they have, Del Taco, El Pollo Loco, all those places, right? So think about how much money you spend to eat lunch on your lunch break at your job. Think about the amount of money that you spend buying specialty things at the grocery store to be able to pack lunches to take with you to your job. And if you don't pack lunches, think about how much money you spend at a fast food joint. Because I can tell you right now, I almost had a heart attack on my husband the other day. We went through the drive-thru at Burger King, and he ordered, like, they have this new Angriest Whopper thing. He likes hot stuff. He ordered, like, the small size. That was it. Nobody else got anything. Not me, not the kids, nothing. And it was like $9 and change. I looked at him and I said, $9 for a sandwich? I was like, you know what? why do we even go to fast food joints? We should just go to a full-service restaurant and sit down because you can get a meal for that, you know what I mean, at a full-service restaurant. And it blew me away. So fast food joints are not cheap, all right? They're not cheap. So let's talk about this, ladies. What do you think would be a good average for what people are spending on food every week at their jobs?
I would think based on just going to the cafeteria at my job, right? I when I buy lunch, it's generally anywhere from $6 to $10 for lunch, and so 5 days a week times, even if we did it at 6, right, would be like 30, but say $7 at $35 at least. And then if I go down for a snack, like a mid-morning snack or something, to get a yogurt or something, that's another $3. So I figure I'm spending probably maybe $10 a day, I would say. Probably $50, $45, $50 a week.
Jolene, anything to add?
Yeah, I have one that is never on time. My boyfriend Thomas, he hasn't quite gotten the productivity of a multitasking, So I'm like, I make stuff for him because I do my videos, so I have leftover food. So I put it in the fridge, but for some reason when he opens the fridge, that shit just never jumps out into his arms so he can take it. And then he'll call me on the way wherever he's going. He's like, "Hey, baby, guess what?" And I'm like, "I already know. Your stuff is still in the fridge, isn't it?" "Yeah, I guess I'll be stuffing it Quick Trip." And I'm like, "Well, there's another $7 down the hole." So, he probably does that about 4 times a week. He just,
Yeah.
So, let's say you do, I don't know, let's say you $5, $6 4 times a week that he forgets something. Well, then he's also forgotten lunch, because if he's going to be gone all day, he didn't bring the breakfast stuff, didn't get the lunch stuff, so that's 2 things. So now he's actually got to leave, because where he works, it's in an office type of deal, so you have to go get food. So he'll run like to McDonald's, Burger King, whatever, and the next day I'll get in the car and I'll look down and I'll be like, "Oh, look at you. You were here and here and here," because it's all down below by the feet, I'm like, how's that going for you? You just spent, what, $30, for breakfast and lunch. $30 because you had to leave. Plus, don't forget the gas money to drive to the restaurant. So yeah, I would definitely say in morning, afternoon for lunches. If you can't remember when to bring it, and if you do bring it, by the time you want to eat it, you're looking at it going, ew, and then you end up going to get something else anyway.
Right.
I know tons of people that say, "Well, I brought something, but I'm really not digging it right now, so I'll leave it in the fridge for next week or tomorrow," and then they go out and get more stuff. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and let's not forget when you take lunch to work, and then you have 3 or 4 coworkers who decide they want to go down the street to Applebee's, right? And they're like, "Hey, come with us," and you say, "Oh, okay, I'm not going to eat, what I brought. I'm going to go join my coworkers for lunch," and then you're sitting down to $12, $15.
Yeah.
Actually go to a sit-down restaurant for lunch. So great feedback, ladies. That's awesome. So let's look at it then. Let's say $7 a day times 5 days is $35 a week, but then let's add in snacks. And if you say, "Well, I don't do snacks," what Jolene said is so true. Breakfast, because a lot of people stop at McDonald's and grab some hash browns and a coffee or some orange juice on their way in. So even if you don't do snacks, let's say a couple days a week you do breakfast, you're looking at $50 a week times 4 weeks in a month. You're looking at $200 a month that you spend on food to eat while you're at your job or while you're commuting to your job, right? So $200 a month, all right? So let's review what we've talked about so far. Again, the amount of gas that most people spend 40 a week times 4 weeks in a month is $160 a month in gas to go to their job. about $900 a year in wardrobe, which breaks down to about $75 a month, which, like Jolene said, for her, that will be on the low end. I know for me alone, we spend $60 a month on dry cleaning my husband's shirts, right? Plus the cost of detergent, anything you might have to buy, new shoes, shirts, ties, you know, pants, whatever the case may be. So we're looking at $75 a month for your wardrobe to go to a job. And then we just talked about food, spending about $200 a month to eat to go to your job, right? So we are officially up to $435. $435, okay, a month to go to your job. But remember, you thought that going to your job was free, right? You thought, oh, why should I have to pay to work for myself from home? I don't have to pay to go to my job. Yes, you do, all right? And we're not done yet. Oh, wait, there's more, I promise you, okay? So, but we're gonna take a little stop here and say, for those of you who don't have children, that's about where you're at, okay? If you don't have kids, where we're at is $435. Average person without kids who goes to a job will spend about $435 a month, okay? That's still more than we spend to work for ourselves, okay? That's still more. And we're going to talk about how much it costs us to work for ourselves in a few minutes. But I want to continue to the fourth point, all right, which is a huge one, the biggest one yet, all right? And this is specifically for people who have children. This will not apply to you if you do not have children. So if you do not have children, you can kind of just watch, but let's sink in those three things that we just covered for you and realize that you spend about $435 a month to go to your job right now without any kids, okay, which is still more by multiple times than what we spend to work from home, okay? Now, those of you who have kids, let me ask you a question. How much does it cost you to put them in daycare so you can go to the job? Think about that. I'm sure many of you out there have said, especially if you're a single parent. You know, I'm fortunate I'm not a single parent, but I feel for you guys out there if you're a single mom or a single dad. I know, well, I can't say I know because I don't do that, but I can only imagine how difficult it is because you feel like you don't have a choice. And it's like, not only do you have to work one job, most of you have to work an extra job just to make the money to pay for the child care so you can go to the jobs, right? So this is a huge, huge expense. So for those of you, I don't know, you guys were stay-at-home moms, so I don't know that you ever, well, Jolene, she worked a couple jobs for a while, so she could probably tap into here about how much she spent on child care. But I can tell you for where I live, all right, and we live in, well, I mean, we don't live in some huge, huge city where things are like massively expensive, all right? I can't imagine how much it would be if we did, but there are some places here that are just through the roof, and I'm like, really? Because I looked into it, right? But most people spend, and this is on the low side, $150 a week. Would you guys say that's fair, Jolene and Dee? $150 a week to put your kids in daycare, all right? So you can go to the job, right? There's a place actually close to where we live. Like I said, there's a few places here that are outrageous. They charge $600 a week. I was like, what? Right? That's insane. So I know that there are places like that out there. And if you're a parent and you have to put your kids in daycare or childcare, you want the best for your kids, right? Yes, everybody should shake their head yes, because everybody wants the best for their kids. So you're not trying to put your kid in some, you know, house or person's care that's only charging $50 a week because that's all you can afford, but you're worried about their safety, right? So you're trying to find the best child care possible for what you can afford. And I know from, you know, where I live, like I said, average is about $150 a week, and that's per kid. So if you have 2 kids, then you'd be looking at $300 a week. Some of them will give you a discount, like $50, you know, for a second kid, like $150 for the first, $100 for the second type thing. But for the most part, you're looking at $150 a week for a kid. And even if your kids are in school, and you say, well, my kids are in school, so, you know, I wouldn't have to pay for daycare. Well, when they get out of school at 3 or whatever time your kids get out, who watches them? I mean, do they just get on the bus and come home by themselves? I would hope not, depending on how old your kids are, right? But, and even before school, you know, if you have to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, who is getting up or you have to get up early and take them to daycare somewhere, or somewhere who can get them to school, so on and so forth. So the cost of childcare is just outrageous. So Dee, I think you wanted to hop on and say something about that.
Yeah. In my area, I know that there's some places that cost like $225 a week per kid. You know, so I mean, there's a lot of places that are a lot more expensive. Or, you know, I'm in South Florida, so yeah, and so it's crazy. It's crazy. You might as well stay home, you know, right?
Exactly. And what about you, Jillian?
Yeah, actually, I have a girlfriend that runs a daycare, and it's not inexpensive. It is. I mean, you know, it's expensive to put them in there. Even when you go to like an in-home place, they're still gonna charge you for doing what you want to do. You know what I mean? You expect them to be treating your kids this way, this way, this way, and this way, but then you have to pay the money to have it done that way.
Absolutely. So, like I said, we'll go on the low side because I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt who's out there saying, oh, it's not that expensive, so we're trying to go cheap on everything to give you the benefit of the doubt. So you're looking at $150 a week times 4 weeks in a month. You're looking at $600 a month. $600 a month per kid. Oh my goodness. $150 a week childcare per kid. $600. So, if you have 2 kids, double that. $1,200. Are you serious with me? Like, even if they give you a $200 discount, you're looking at $1,000 a month. How much money do you make at that job? It better be a whole lot, right? Or you better have a second job or a third job. You know what I mean? That's just crazy. And so let's go back and add up. Let me look over here in the comments. Let's see. Jim, this is getting expensive. Yeah, you think? It's crazy. All right, so $160 a week, or excuse me, a month in gas. Okay. $75 a month in wardrobe. $200 a month on lunch. That's $435 right there if you don't have kids. And then if you do have kids, let's add another $600 in. So, my friends, this is how much money a month you spend to go to your job. $1,035 a month to go to your job. All right, and let's give them more of a benefit of the doubt, right? Let's say you have somewhere that you're spending. Let's say you can get childcare somehow, some way for $400 a month instead of $600. Let's say that you only spend $100 a month on food instead of $200. Let's say you only spend $100 on gas instead of $160, or you carpool, or you use public transportation, so you don't have to pay for maintenance of your vehicles and stuff like that. And let's say you only spend $50 a month on wardrobe instead of $75 a month. So $100 on gas, $50 on wardrobe, $100 on lunch, and $400 on childcare. You're still at $650 a month. $650 a month, and that's like way low. Probably no one out there gets all that stuff for that inexpensive. That is just insane. Insane. So I want to ask you guys, if you're watching this live and you have the opportunity to type something in the chat, does it make sense now? Is the light bulb going off? Do you get that it actually costs you a lot of money to go to your job, right? So, like I said, so many people think, oh, I don't have to pay to go to my job. I should have to pay to work from home. Yes, you do. You pay to go to your job. You pay a lot of money to go to your job, right? So, if you have thoughts on that, please make sure you comment, or if you have any questions, throw it out there in the chat, and we'll make sure we get them answered. So that's pretty much the gamut. That's the brainwashing. That's the system of when we grow up and when we go to school, we're taught that, you know, if you want to do anything in life and you want to be anything in life, you have to go to college, right? If you don't go to college, then you're not ever going to amount to anything, and then you like feel horrible about yourself. But then you go to college and all of a sudden you've got like $200,000 in debt that you spend the next 40 years of your life trying to pay back, you know, and so many people out there. And if this isn't you, then this isn't you, okay? I feel like I'm speaking for the majority, and that is just feel like, man, there's got to be a better way, right? Is that all there is? Is this all there is to life? There has to be a better way. I want to live my dreams. What about those dreams that I had growing up about wanting to do this and wanting to do that and wanting to live a certain way and have freedom? You know, what happened to all that? And it's just unfortunate that, you know, our school systems really don't teach that you actually do have the capabilities to do whatever it is that you want in life, that you don't have to get a degree if you don't want to, that you can absolutely, you know, work for yourself and create your own income. Another thing that's great about working from home that these ladies will absolutely agree with me on is, you know, if something massive happens in your life, like the transmission goes out on your car and all of a sudden you're like screwed if you don't have $2,000 to put a transmission in your car. You know what I mean? You know, when you work a job, you can't make any more than what you make. Like, if you make $8 an hour, right, look at the calculator, if you make $8 an hour and you work 40 hours a week, you make $320 a week. And that's gross. Forget about taking the taxes out, right? So once taxes are taken out, you might make $250 a week. What happens when the transmission goes out in your car? Or the HVAC system in your house goes out? Or you have a flood or something, right? And you all of a sudden need a lot more money. You're not going to make any more money at your job because you're stuck at $8 an hour times 40 hours a week. If you want to make more money, you have to get another job. Whereas when you work for yourself, you literally have the ability to create an income. If you have an emergency and you need to make more money, then guess what? You say, holy crap, I need to make $2,000 like yesterday. And then guess what? You just buckle down and you work harder. You put yourself out there more. You market yourself and your business more, right, to get more eyeballs to what it is that you're doing, right? So you literally aren't trading your hours for income when you work for yourself. You have the ability to work as much as you want or as little as you want and make as much as you want or as little as you want. So there's that benefit as well. So this brings me to the point of you guys saying, well, how much is it that you really spend a month to work from home then? So we get it, Laura. We get it, Julene. We get it, Dee. Our jobs cost us money. So how much does it cost you? All right? Well, I'm going to keep it real because if you don't know me, you'll find out really quick. I always keep everything real. I'm not just going to give you the starter price, you know, to try to hook you in because I'm honest about everything. And you're going to see a button below this video and below the comments that says, you know, join now. It's going to take you to a page to get started for $10. And that is all it costs you to get started is $10, all right? But you want to know, well, what after those 10 days, then what's it cost, all right? So I was real with you about how much your job costs. I'm going to be real with you about how much this business costs, right? We pay $149.97 a month. Right, ladies? Is that what we pay? We pay $149.97 a month. $149.97 is a lot cheaper, okay, than your $435 a month if you don't have kids, or your $1,065 a month if you do have kids, okay? Is your income guaranteed? Nope. But you know what? Neither is the paycheck at the job you go to, because guess what? If you don't go to your job, do you get a paycheck or do you get fired? You get fired. So just like a job, you have to suit up and show up for your business and run your business. A lot of people join work from home things and they don't make any money and then they call it a scam. Guess what? It's not a scam. Now I'm not saying there aren't scams out there because there are, but what I'm talking about, what we do, okay, that we can all attest to, is not a scam. But a lot of times people don't make money because they don't show up for their business, right? And just like when you don't show up for your job, you get fired. If you don't show up for your business, guess what? You're not going to make any money. It's the same thing. Okay? Difference is at a job, you have a boss over your shoulder telling you when you got to show up, what you got to wear, when you get your lunch break, when you can take a vacation, blah, blah, blah. When you own your own business, you don't have someone doing that. You are responsible for showing up for your business, right? And working it and marketing it and running it efficiently, right? No one's going to do it for you. So we pay $149.97 a month. That's it. Okay? Now, you're like, well, what about all those other, like, strings attached? There are no other strings attached. Are there other opportunities to get learning tools and products to learn more about how to be a marketer? Absolutely. There's always going to be something out there that you can buy that will teach you specifically this or specifically that, whatever that particular product is offering to teach you, okay? Do you have to buy them? Absolutely not, okay? Absolutely not. Another great thing about what we do is there are tons of products like what I'm talking about in the back office to be able to share with other people, that if other people buy, guess what? You still make money on them, and even if you didn't buy them yourself. That's pretty awesome, right? So $149.97, there's no strings, you don't have to buy anything else. Is there other stuff available? Of course. Is it required? Never. Is it necessary? Only you can answer that. You know, that really depends on what you want and what you think and what your desires and goals and needs and things like that are, right? There are other things out there that are tools that will help you in your business working from home. Never required. You can buy domains that are pretty, you know, like the domain that you clicked on to come here. If someone shared with you and it was a pretty domain, you can buy domains like GoDaddy for $1, you know, but none of that stuff is required. It is your business, and you do with it what you want to do with it, and you spend as much money as you want, or you spend as little as you want. But the bottom line is you can literally create your own residual income from the comfort of your home, living the way that you want to live, spending your time with the people you want to spend your time with, doing what it is that you love and that you're passionate about for $149.97 a month. And by clicking the Join Now button below this video, it'll get you started with whoever invited you to this call for $10 for 10 days, right? So what do you think, ladies? Anything to add? Dee's talking, but
I said test drive. Yeah. No, it's kind of a with the $10 trial. It's a great way to get in and check it out and see what it's all about and see what we're talking about and see the amount of training that is included in the $149.97 that can keep you going for quite a long time, you know, and will teach you just about everything you need to know to be successful. So it's so worth it. It's so worth it. That's all I had to say.
Awesome, thanks. Go ahead, Jillian.
Yeah, like Dee said, you know, and the $10 isn't an access to 1/4 of the program, you know, and then after that you have to pay more to get the whole thing. The $10 for 10 days, you're going to see and you're going to get and you're going to be able to work with exactly what I have. All the trainings, all the coaching, all the private groups that when you say, I'm not finding this, does anybody know where I could look? You're going to have about 75 people screaming at you the same answer. So just beware, you know. If you have a problem, ask a question. If you don't know where it is, there's steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You know, there isn't any, where do I start? See the red button? You know, it actually says red button, start here, or blue button, start here. You know, it's very simple. But if you look at it and go, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed, then go back to the person that you signed up with and say, I'm lost. I really don't get it. And you know what? We get one-on-one. We get on the phone. We do a Skype. It's really that simple. It really is. And the opportunities to do anything with it. Hire your business. Pick up your niche and make it a business. Learn techniques of how to video edit. And, you know, photo and make photo pictures, you know, and do graphics. You know, the amount of training that you get when you're in this business, you should add that up. All the training, the different types of training, the video, the editing, the marketing, the learning of an email, the Facebook, the Snapchat, the Instagram. You should add all that, how much it would cost to go to college for 4 years on each subject. That's how much you'd have to pay, and you get this for $49.97 a month.
Yeah, I feel you. And that's totally true. You know, I've had people on my team before talk about how they have double master's degrees. One person in particular, I'm thinking of, she has a double master's degree, and she said that she learned more in marketing through the back office, what we do, than she did in her college education that she is still trying to pay off, right? What's that got to say for it, you know? And, you know, it's just an amazing thing, and people say, well, what is it that I'm doing? Okay, well, MLSP is an attraction marketing company, and it's all about you, okay? It's all about you. It's all about what you want. It's all about what you love. It's all about your desire. It's all about how you want to live, right? It's about attracting people to you, and you're not chasing everyone down, right? And literally just sharing the platform of My Lead System Pro and say, hey, here are all these fantastic tools. Jolene just named tons of them, and training and marketing and all this stuff that teaches you how to do what you're trying to do, which is work from home, right? So it's just a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer if that's what you want to do. If you have the desire to be able to spend time with your family and stay at home with them, right, and still be able to, like me, fulfill that spot inside of you where, you know, where you get that individualism back, where you don't feel like you're always on the back burner, that you can be a good mom or a good dad and have a successful career at the same time. You know, that filled that for me. It also fulfilled, I have the privilege of helping people like you watching this right now change your life, to give you hope and inspiration that there really is a better way, that this really is legit, like it can be possible, you know what I mean? It's totally up to you. And but the thing is you have to decide, right? You have to decide and believe that, you know, you want to change and that this is what you want to do, and that you know, are able to do it. I remember specifically, and I'll share this really quick story with you. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. Share this quick story with you. And this comes down to what your why is, right? There was a girl on my team, and she had a little boy, and he wanted to go bowling. Dee, I don't know if you might remember this story, but her little boy had asked her if, you know, Mommy, can we go bowling? And she was like, no, honey, we can't afford it, right? This was a few years ago. And you know, she thought that was it. That was pretty much it. Well, I guess like 10 minutes later, he came up to her with like a handful of change. And when I say handful of change, to the little boy, it was like money. Like, oh my gosh, I have all this money, right? But like, I think it was maybe 16 or 17 cents or something like that in his hand. He had gone through and dug through all the sofas, you know, the sofa and the love seat and the recliner, whatever, their furniture, digging for change. And he had taken it to his mom and said, Mommy, is this enough to go bowling? In that moment, she said, I'm done. Never again will I see my little boy look at me after digging through furniture to try to get change together so we can go bowling. It shouldn't have to be this way. And from that moment on, she made a decision that their life would never be that way again. And I'm going to tell you right now, she's very, very successful working for herself from the comfort of her home, right? Because your why has to be big enough. Is your why big enough? Is your want big enough? Is your desire big enough? Are you ready to take your future, your family, into your own hands and stop allowing someone else to be in charge of it, right? That job. Like I said, disclosure, if you love what you do and you're passionate about your career and your job, then amen to you. Kudos. Do it. We love you for it. But if you're one of those people who really, really has the heart and the desire to be able to stay home with your family and work and financially provide for your family so that you can live the way that you want and deserve, this is it. This is for you. You've seen the proof tonight. We've talked about how much your job costs you, the gas money that you spend every single month. Even if you don't have a car, you don't drive, if you have public transportation, you know, use Ubers, you use Lyft, you use cabs, you take buses, it costs you money, right? The amount of money you spend on the clothes that you have to wear to that job, the amount of money that you spend on food every day that you go to that job, and the amount of money that you spend to put your kids in daycare just so you can go to that job adds up to way more than what we spend to work from the comfort of our homes every single day and have the ability to make as much money as we want residually every single month. Because after all, your bills are residual. You get, your rent's due every month, your electric's due every month, your water's due every month. So when people join you in your business and they pay every month, guess what? You get paid, every single person, every single month. You know what I'm saying? So with that said and done, I don't have anything else to add unless you ladies, if you have anything else to add in closing. Jillian says no, nothing in closing. Dee says no, nothing in closing. All right, well, I think I was noticing on my Facebook, which I have in the background here, that Jenny, our third panelist, wasn't able to get on where she's at. She has no internet right now. The router or something is not working, so she wasn't able to get onto the computer, and she was messaging us from her cell phone, which I don't know if you've ever tried to get on a web stream like this from a cell phone, but it doesn't work very well. So we missed you tonight, Jenny, but we look forward to having you on a panel again with us real soon. And I would like to thank Dee for coming on with us and Jillian for sharing their experience when it comes to, being a stay-at-home mom versus having to, go out in the world and work to provide for your family. And I really, really hope that the three of us have come into your heads and your hearts and your homes tonight and made you realize the light bulb that needed to come on so that you understand that you really do spend a lot of money to go to your job every single day, and that it doesn't have to be that way, that you absolutely have every capability to be at home, be with your family, who you want to be with, and earn a living and financially provide to support them. So thank you for joining us this Sunday night, Mother's Day. If you're a mom, I hope you had a fantastic Mother's Day. I had a great Mother's Day with my kiddos. And make sure, if you missed any part of this live call, you can watch the replay anytime you want by going back to the link for the person who sent you to this. This replay will be up until next Sunday night, May 15th at 9 p.m. And the next Sunday night, May 15th at 9 p.m., we'll be live again, having another fantastic call for you guys to provide just value and content about this business and working for yourself from home. So we love you. Have a fantastic night, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.